From cult heroes to lost legends, these are 10 underrated 60s rock bands who deserved more fame. Number 10. The Electric Prunes. They made distortion, psychedelic, and fuzz feel holy. The Electric Prunes broke through with 1966's I Had Too Much to Dream Last Night, a swirling, echo-drenched track that turned nightmares into charting singles. Coming out of the Los Angeles scene, they were signed by Reprise Records just as the counterculture was beginning to bubble.
You stop walking toward me and my cool comes all undone.
But behind the curtain, things weren't so dreamy. Their later work was hijacked by producers more interested in avant-garde religious rock operas than chart hits. The band didn't even play on some of their own albums. Studio musicians took over, muddying their identity. Still, for a flash, they were garage psych pioneers. Picture teens lying on shag carpet floors, lava lamps glowing, letting that bendy intro riff melt their brains. They're now revered by collectors and crate diggers alike. And the story behind this next cut still sparks debate among fans. Number 9. The Remains. They opened for the Beatles. Yes, those Beatles. Boston's own The Remains were sharp-dressed, sharp-sounding rockers with clean riffs and British invasion swagger. In 1966, they joined the Fab Four's final US tour, A Dream Gig. But despite the exposure, they never broke through. Why? Timing and turmoil. Their self-titled debut dropped just as the band was unraveling. No charting hits, no label push, and poof, they vanished. But listen to Why Do I Cry, and you'll hear raw energy, almost punk in its urgency. Imagine this blaring from a teen's AM radio, windows down, rebellion in the air. Their live show was legendary, tight, wild, unforgettable. Years later, garage rock revivalists would cite them as an early influence. Too late for stardom, but just in time for legacy. Different city, same rebel heartbeat. Our next band carried the torch. Number 8. The Creation.
Why do we have to carry on? Always singing.
Before feedback was fashionable, The Creation were weaponizing it. Formed in 1966 in England, they paired art school vibes with mod bravado. Their single, Making Time, blasted out with hammering guitars and shouted choruses, predating punk's aggression by a full decade. Eddie Phillips, their guitarist, played his instrument with a violin bow before Jimmy Page made it famous. That's how ahead of the curve they were. But bad management and a constantly shifting lineup stalled their momentum. In another timeline, they'd have been The Who's biggest rivals. Their influence is undeniable, just ask Oasis or Ride, both of whom nodded to their work decades later. Imagine them lighting up a smoke-filled London club, amps howling, kids pogoing before pogo had a name. If that was thunder, the next one is lightning. Number 7. The Standals' Dirty Water is Boston's gritty anthem made by a band from Los Angeles. The Standals carved their name into garage rock history with a sneer and a swagger. Signed to Tower Records, they captured that mid-60s punky snarl like few others. But despite national TV appearances and teen magazine covers, they never rose above cult status. Why? Timing. Too tough for pop, too early for punk, and though they had the sound, their image was a little too clean-cut for the rebellion they were channeling. But close your eyes and spin, sometimes good guys don't wear white. It's all swagger and attitude, like a leather-jacketed middle finger to conformity. They inspired future punks and garage bands, proving that raw edges have staying power. We've rocked hard enough now for a slow burn anthem that hit the gut. Number 6. The Beau Brummels.
Don't trust them, baby, now you know you don't learn everything there is to.
They brought melancholy to the jangle. The Beau Brummels emerged from San Francisco in 1964, crafting delicate, harmony-driven tracks like Laugh, Laugh, and Just a Little. Produced by Sly Stone before he went full funk, they predated the folk rock boom by a solid year before the Byrds made it big. They were always a step ahead, yet the spotlight missed them.
I hate to say it, but I told you so. Don't mind my...
A strange label decision to make them cover an entire album of other people's hits didn't help. Still, their originals shimmer. Picture a rainy afternoon, transistor radio by the window, that mournful harmony washing over young hearts. They blended California sunshine with aching vulnerability. Modern fans consider them the American answer to the British invasion, a little sadder, a little softer, and just as essential.
I said don't trust them, baby, now you know you don't learn everything.
Quick pit stop if these classics still give you goosebumps. Hit like so more rock fans, find this. And stick around because the top tracks are the ones that truly define the decade. Number 5. Love. Arthur Lee was a visionary with a band too ahead of their time. Love's 1967 album Forever Changes is now considered a psychedelic masterpiece, but when it dropped, barely anyone noticed. Critics didn't know what to make of its orchestral folk rock grandeur. Audiences were busy chasing flashier acts. From LA's Sunset Strip, Love mixed mariachi horns, haunting lyrics, and acid-laced paranoia into songs like Alone Again but inner band tensions and Lee's reluctance to tour sealed their fate as cult icons instead of mainstream stars. Still, their music lingered. Radio DJs rediscovered them in the 80s, and generations of artists from The Damned to the Stone Roses called them an influence. Imagine sitting in a candlelit dorm room, vinyl spinning, lost in the swirl of strings and sorrow. One of the top 3 songs literally saved a career. Turn the dial up, and this next track sets the sound on fire. Number 4. The Music Machine.
A reputation, something more than what I know it served me.
Clad in all black and dripping attitude, the Music Machine were sonic rebels. Their 1966 hit, Talk Talk, packed more angst into 2 minutes than most bands managed in full albums. Led by Sean Bonnewell, a one-time folk singer turned proto-goth poet, they fused garage, fuzz, and fury. They were dark, they were tight, they were misunderstood. Label interference and Bonnewell's uncompromising vision led to internal rifts. Their best material often got buried under bad decisions, like being forced to record covers they hated. But their look-black turtlenecks, leather, one leather-gloved hand foreshadowed the goth and new wave aesthetics to come. Picture them under stage lights, pounding out hypnotic rhythms, making every outsider in the crowd feel seen. And speaking of visionaries, the next band should have rewritten the history books. Number 3. The Zombies.
that she should tell you, come closer.
Their melodies were magic, but fame came too late. The Zombies hit early with She's Not There, but by the time they released Odyssey and Oracle in 1968, the band had already broken up. The album's lead single, Time of the Season, eventually became a radio staple, but by then, the group was scattered.
No one told me about how many people cried.
Ironically, that song's success saved the careers of its members, allowing some to pursue music full-time again. Odyssey and Oracle would go on to be hailed as one of the great psychedelic records. Recorded at Abbey Road using leftover Beatles session time, it's filled with lush harmonies and haunting themes.
No one told me about how many people cried.
Imagine discovering it years later, tucked in a used record bin, then realizing you've stumbled onto a forgotten masterpiece. If that was elegance, this next band was all raw grit. Number 2, Buell, The Pretty Things.
So how can I say that you're any friend?
They were louder than the Stones, and dirtier too. The Pretty Things came out swinging in 1964 with snarling blues and unkempt hair that scared TV producers.
Jill, I bought a ticket on a southbound train, got my blue.
Frontman Phil May and guitarist Dick Taylor, an early Stones member, weren't chasing fame, they wanted fury. In 1968, they released SF Sorrow, considered by many the first rock opera, predating Tommy by The Who. But with poor US distribution and zero promotional push, it went mostly unheard. Their live shows were legendary, sweaty, chaotic, electric. You can almost feel the beer-stained floor, hear the crackle of tube amps as they tear through a set in some British dive. They never broke through commercially, but ask any rock historian, these guys were pioneers. Our #1 track split critics at release then conquered the world. Number 1, Big Star.
Maybe Friday I can get together.
Yes, they formed in the 70s, but their DNA was pure 60s. Big Star sounded like what would have happened if the Byrds and the Beatles had raised a garage band together. Formed in 1971 by Alex Chilton and Chris Bell, they channeled that jangly, harmony-laced 60s magic into songs like 13 and September Girls. Critics adored them.
Tell him what we said about painted black.
Radio ignored them. Distribution woes and record label bungles meant almost no one heard their albums when they dropped. But word spread. Musicians passed their records around like holy relics. REM, The Replacements, Wilco all would cite Big Star as gospel.
Won't you tell me what you're thinking of?
Their music feels like teenage dreams. Dusk at the drive-in, a crackling speaker, a heart on the line. They were the greatest band you never heard in their time. And now, legends. If that brought back memories, tap like and subscribe to keep the classics alive. From arena-shaking anthems to forgotten gems, these songs prove why rock's golden era will never die. Next up, the guitar solos that defined the 70s, it's waiting for you on screen.